Hey everybody, welcome to the channel. Hey guys, we're your hosts, M and J, and today we thought we would finally get around to covering those Swiftwind shorts from a few months ago. Sorry about the delay, but we did promise we would get to them. The shorts are supplementary material that shows what Swiftwind gets up to on his days off, which is apparently most of the time since he was barely present in season 3, and they honestly could have used him then. But it is what it is. These shorts rely heavily on Swiftwind's comedy, so if you find it funny, then there are 5 shorts for you to enjoy. But if you don't, then they're pretty obnoxious. We understand that Swiftwind is a comedic character, but he can be pretty grating, and it's even more grating that he's not really around when they need him, but then they use him for stuff like this. The first short starts with Perfuma and her people trying to be better warriors, but they're having trouble because they don't have a history with being warriors. I'm actually happy to see Perfuma and her people trying. We were kind of annoyed with Perfuma when we were first introduced to her because she kept demanding that She-Ra heal the forest when there was still an obvious horde threat. It felt like wanting to rebuild a house while it was still on fire. But once she and her people decided to join the rebellion, they really committed, and they're trying even though they don't have a history of being warriors. Maybe she just saw She-Ra as a legendary warrior who could do anything, and maybe she didn't understand that these problems needed to be taken care of one step at a time. But Swiftwind comes in loudly announcing his presence, even though no one called him. Perfuma asks if maybe he could train them to be warriors since he's She-Ra's steed, which leads to a training montage, except most of his techniques are more related to horses than humans. He has them strap horns to their foreheads and train with them for fighting, and he tells them if things get bad they can use their horns to summon She-Ra, which he demonstrates. Why didn't we ever see him do this in the actual show? They try to summon She-Ra too, but obviously it's not working, and they end up hurting themselves. Perfuma tries to gently tell Swiftwind that this might not be working since his methods are more horse-oriented. I appreciate that Perfuma is speaking up, but then a random horde soldier comes rushing in out of nowhere, just a single soldier, and the Plumerians are able to defeat him with a headbutt and a kick. So Swiftwind feels vindicated, saying there's no need to thank him. I guess it makes sense since horde soldiers aren't actually that hard to defeat. The last time the Plumerians faced them, they were able to defeat the horde with wind chimes and leaves. But She-Ra shows up because she was responding to Swiftwind's call, and asks what's wrong. Swiftwind tells her that nothing's wrong because he saved the day, and flies off saying for the honor of Grayskull, which leads one of the Plumerians to actually ask who's Grayskull. So they're aware they've never addressed Grayskull and they're just gonna make a joke out of it. I can't say I appreciate that, but I did like Perfuma in this short. It's good to see her taking initiative, being a leader, and caring for her people, but maybe they should check to see if there are any other horde soldiers in the area, or find out what this horde soldier knows. In the next short, Swiftwind is seeking attention in the cantina, but no one seems to be impressed by him, and he gets so distraught over this he breaks one of the tables. While there, he and She-Ra end up running into Mermista and Seahawk. Seahawk is crying because he lost his boat in an arm wrestling competition, so Swiftwind vows to get it back for him, and rushes over to a lady at one of the booths. Although I'm not sure how he knew that was a specific person he needed to wrestle, but I digress. The lady has these 2 cat-like creatures with her though, and those are pretty cool. Adora tries to point out the flaw in this situation, but Mermista insists that he'll figure it out for himself. So Swiftwind takes a minute, and I mean that literally, to finally realize that he doesn't have arms, which is kind of important when you're going to have an arm wrestling contest, and he tries to use his leg one way or another, and he even puts his rear on the table, but just when it seems like he's going to give up, he remembers that he has wings, so he uses that in place of an arm. I appreciate his loyalty and determination, but I don't think that joke had to go on as long as it did. So the 2 arm wrestle, but halfway through the fish lady's pets jump on Swiftwind's wing, and no one calls them out on cheating. Instead his friends cheer him on. I guess this is a there are no rules kind of bar, but if that's true then what's keeping She-Ra and the others from helping Swiftwind out? But Swiftwind does end up pulling it off despite the cheating, so more power to him. Seahawk celebrates that he got his ship back. She-Ra and even Mermista join in, but then they're informed that the boat actually goes to the winner, so now it's Swiftwind's boat. So they all sail away together with Swiftwind at the helm, but he can fly. What does he really need with a boat? But I'm sure he can just gift it back to Seahawk. The third short features Adora being invited to Frosta's 12th birthday party. She's nervous since she's never been to a birthday party before, and she's expected to bring a gift, but she doesn't know what Frosta might like. So Swiftwind announces himself loudly again, and offers to help even though he's never been to a birthday party either. This leads to a montage of possible gifts, most of them horse-related, like apples or oats, but he has some other ideas too, like a stick, just a stick. But he also has some other ideas like a creepy doll, a stun baton, or a creepy doll tied to a stun baton. Where did he get these things? Eventually they have to go to the party and Adora panics, so she went with the stick. She's sure Frosta will hate it, and Swiftwind is disappointed that he couldn't help anyone. But when they get to Frosta, she doesn't even notice the stick. She thinks that her birthday present is a ride on Swiftwind, which they're both happy to give her, which is actually pretty cute. You guys got lucky. The next short's conflict comes from a misunderstanding on Adora and Swiftwind's part. It starts with Bo rushing to meet the two of them, and they explain to him that Glimmer's been taken in a very dramatic fashion. He questions if she's been taken to the fright zone, but then Swiftwind tells him that she was just taken to her room, and Adora says that she's been grounded. Naturally, they don't know what that means, so they assume the worst. Although I'm not sure why they would think that of Queen Angela. Bo laughs when he finally puts the pieces together, but he doesn't bother explaining the situation to them. So the rest of the episode is She-Ra and Swiftwind trying to break into Glimmer's room to free her. Most of the runtime is them trying to be stealthy but failing miserably. The joke is that the guards see them being extremely obvious but ignore them. I guess the guards don't see them as a threat, but they are breaking a lot of stuff. I'm just wondering why the guards are letting this happen. They finally break into Glimmer's room only to find her sitting comfortably with her mom drinking tea. They question this and Glimmer explains that she was grounded for trying to sneak away to hang out with Perfuma without telling anyone. But then her mom came in and they started talking and they're actually having a good time for once, which is pretty out of character, but I'll take it. It's nice to see Glimmer and Angela actually getting along. Wish we could see this kind of stuff in the actual show. Angela asks if they'd like to join them, but then Bo comes in saying he felt like a bad friend for not helping out, even though he actually understood the situation. But Adora excitedly announces that they're having tea, so Bo happily joins them. While it's good to see the Queen put her foot down when it comes to Glimmer's behavior, isn't hanging out with her friends the exact opposite of being grounded? But it was nice to see Glimmer and the Queen in a different light. Too bad Glimmer didn't learn anything from this, and snuck off into the Crimson Waste without telling anyone in Season 3. It's obvious that Angela only wants respect and communication with Glimmer, but instead Glimmer just doubles down on her bad behavior, and that's pretty disappointing. The last short has Swiftwind going to Light Hope after being summoned, and he asks her if they need to fight more spiders. But this time She-Ra makes a dramatic entrance. She says that he's been so helpful lately that she wants to help him now. Light Hope says it's good they're here because there's steps that Swiftwind has to take to be She-Ra's noble steed, but he interrupts her before she can get to what those steps are. He says the steps he needs to take are get a transformation sequence, eat more apples, and show his old horse friends how cool he is now. She-Ra agrees with him and says once he's done all that, he'll be a hero just like Light Hope said, but Light Hope tries to say that that's not what she said at all. But Swiftwind and She-Ra both leave to get started. Kinda rude. I'm not surprised that Swiftwind would do something like this, but I am kinda surprised that Adora would go along with it. The first thing they decide to do is eat apples. She-Ra asks if he's sure about this, and he says no regrets, but then eats all the apples and immediately has regrets. Next is the transformation sequence, which involves She-Ra running around Swiftwind with glitter and mirrors, which is kinda weird because he never transforms back into a regular horse. But he also demands a transformation song, which She-Ra gets annoyed by because she doesn't have a transformation song, but she actually did in the original. Sorry Netflix She-Ra, Filmation would have given you a song, but you'll have to take it up with DreamWorks now. But now the only thing left is to show off how cool Swiftwind is to his old friends. But they're horses, so they're not really impressed. Maybe you should have brought apples. But Swiftwind says that he can't believe how much his old friends have changed. So they go back to Light Hope excited that their training is done, but she tells them that they basically wasted the whole day, and nothing they did mattered. So they ask what they need to do, and Light Hope unleashes a bunch of spiders on them. This short was probably the least productive. They spent a whole day doing mostly nothing, when they could have been training, but I guess that's the comedy of it. It's the same humor, and it wears out its welcome. Plus I feel like it was a real missed opportunity to not get the Unizerd involved. Just saying. I know it was a one-off joke, but also, I don't care. It's still a missed opportunity. It's kind of strange that they make such a big deal out of She-Ra and Swiftwind's relationship, yet he wasn't in Season 3. And in the end, I feel like these shorts just weren't necessary. It feels like Swiftwind should be a bigger deal than he is. But instead of being part of the main cast, he's just a goofy side character. The shorts did have their moments, and it was nice to see certain characters in a different light for once. Although it also felt like Adora was out of character occasionally. Like she was goofier sillier than she normally is. Sure, the show can get pretty goofy at times, but it felt like they ramped up Adora's silliness to match Swiftwind's. But overall, these shorts have the same problems that the show does, but since there's so little plot, it's more exasperated than the show is. Like the jokes dragging on for too long, to the point where it eats up half of the runtime at least, or characters making poor decisions, along with the bad art design and lackluster animation. Swiftwind is the main character in these shorts, but he just looks terrible most of the time. But that's our take on the Swiftwind shorts. What do you guys think? Do you like this kind of supplementary material? I think it could have been useful for world building, but they didn't really take advantage of all of that. Anyway, if you enjoyed this video, you can leave a like and subscribe to this channel to see more content like this. Thanks for watching, we really appreciate it, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye everyone! Bye guys!